Yo, what is up, YouTube? YP Gang, YP Nation, YP Box, YP MMA, and coming at y'all with an immediate fight breakdown, fight recap for an amazing card that UFC 315 was, 315, all that type of stuff. Montreal, Canada. Man, I'm just excited to talk about the card because we got so many storylines that came out of this. I've already what ends up happening is after a card happens, I'll just be listening to videos, listening to everybody's reactions, kind of chipping in what I got to say in their comments. I'm saying stuff to myself. So I've already probably rattled off hundreds of videos that could have been recorded if I just hit the record bar right after the fight ended. But I'm gonna try to stir all that up and put it all together into my thoughts right now as I'm talking. So y'all can see the hip in my voice. Usually I'm but man, the reason this card had me so hyped. I know I didn't make any videos into the lead up of it. Sorry about that, but it had me so hyped because there's so many storylines that come out of this fight. You have the stuff going on at 155. You have stuff, I want to see 145 too, 170. We don't know who's going to be next for the title. If obviously we got the scenario that JDM won. Crazy. And I'm going to talk about that performance, but again, if JDM wins, you get JDM Islam. If Bilal wins, you get Bilal Islam. Bilal and what's his name? I mean, it would probably be Bilal Brady, but the big fight that you get is Islam Topuria. So that's the big. So you had a lot of people today on TikTok, on social media. People were like, "Hey, I'm gonna root for Bilal. I hate him, but I want to see Islam Topuria." To me, I wasn't the biggest fan of that fight because I don't believe in Topuria's skills at 155. The one time he moved up, he did get head kicked and nearly knocked out by Jai Herbert. I feel like he had to prove himself. So I like the fight with Charles Olivier accompanied by Islam staying at the weight class, and then you get it after. Prove that he's actually a contender. And honestly, with how JDM looked today, and we're going to talk about it, I would like to see Islam prove himself at welterweight. Just get one fight. Obviously, he's done the work. He's cleared the division, but I would like to see him really commit to the division, vacate that belt, because I don't know if he's even messing with JDM. And JDM looked lights out today, man. Bilal, I can't stress enough, man. I love Bilal, man. Great fighter. You saw the grappling. You saw the hip tosses that he was able to do. I really wish that he committed to the grappling more in the fight, because every time he would go forward, you saw glimpses of he could do it. I think something about the way JDM was moving, something staccato about it, something smooth about it was really throwing Bilal off. And I think he really was serious about him committing to the striking. And I think he thought that he would have a lot more success, which he did. To me, maybe I was a little biased because I wanted Bilal to win, but I had a 2-2 going into the fifth round. They had a 2-2. Was that because they were really trying to force this Islam Topuria fight to happen and they really wanted Bilal to win? And so they were just trying to, give him a little nudge and then, hopefully he wins that fifth round. Obviously, he lost the fifth round. So I had a 3-2. The judges agree with me. But I think a lot of people probably had it. I saw some 3-1 scorecards, 4-1, 49-46. Probably a more accurate scorecard. I'd probably have to go back and rewatch. But again, really, really good fight. I thought Bilal did a lot of good work in the striking and in the boxing and stuff. They're showing right now, though, that Islam is saying time to become a double champion, inshallah, let's go. So that's probably the fight to happen next. But, man, so the things with JDM, right? Bilal, to me, what I saw in his fights, because the thing is, with guys, I always hold them to the highest regard, you know what I mean? So when I saw what he did to Leon, and I know, honestly, I feel Leon's a pretty good defensive grappler. And, what the transitions, him picking him up, it would be I forget what you call it, but so you hook the butt and then you pick them up, drop him on his head, just switching between the different types of takedowns against the cage, just the diversity. I was like, man, this guy's the best, MMA wrestler since GSP, for example. And in this fight, honestly, you saw glimpses of it, but he didn't commit to it all the way. And I think just the way JDM moves, the movement, the danger of the boxing, I think Bilal really respected that, and him really wanted to commit to the striking. It just gave him a lot of issues, man. Bilal is just not JDM's just not something to be played with. There were, he definitely, and towards that latter half, is he was eating the punches, he was able to come back. He was landing a lot of shots too. I'm glad the judges saw what I was seeing. I don't know if they were being favorable, but JDM would land a shot and Bilal would land something very similar. The crowd wouldn't say anything because they just hate that guy so much. So, but you saw in the stats though, stats don't lie, numbers don't lie. The eye can lie a little bit. The angles, the commentators can lie a little bit, but you saw, I mean, Bilal was landing some really good shots. People are not going to give him his credit. You know, all the attention is going to be going to, you know, the future fights with Islam and all that type of stuff. But Bilal, I will say, shout out to him, man. He looked amazing on the feet, man. He looked really good. Honestly, and people are going to just dismiss it. They're going to say, oh, you know, it's only because JDM was worried about the wrestling. JDM looked comfortable in there. He didn't look like he was, you know, looking for the wrestling. He genuinely was getting pieced up by Bilal, but JDM would do a little bit more piecing up in this fight. You know, he was mixing in the uppercuts, mixing in some good elbows too in there. Just the jab too, like. But you can't deny though. I mean, Bilal damn near had his JDM's eye shut in that fight. So again, Bilal, I hope he gets a lot more credit going into, you know, the latter half of his career here. I hope he gets a lot more credit, you know, after his career's over. I see a lot of people. I remember when Usman was champion, there wasn't a lot of love. Like, there was a lot of hate. Like, they wanted him to get the belts off him. People didn't really appreciate him, but now people love him. I hope that's something similar with Bilal, because the guy, I mean, he gave us a fight, man. That fight's only a fight, and I don't want to say like, oh, like Bilal's so good. He could have approached this fight a certain way to where, and maybe this was the way to where he thought that it was his best chance to win. But there is a world where Bilal really stinks this shit up. He clinches the whole time. Like, you saw it. I mean, but JDM was hell-bent on, like, not getting put in those positions and not staying there. They have very similar dimensions, so, and I think JDM's pretty strong. He's just able to out-muscle you in these terms. It doesn't really make any sense. Like, he just, like, there was a, I'm forgetting, like, when he got these takedowns, but it was, I don't know if it was in the fourth or the fifth, but Bilal got a really good takedown, and then JDM just like Derek Lewis's himself up. Like, no, there's no technique to it. He just like, okay. And it looked like he was done. It looked like he was, you know, just going to accept the position. It was over. Bilal, there was a lot of, and the thing with this fight, it was a lot of like big momentum shifts. Like, oh, Bilal's finally, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna do his big one right here. You know, he's going to land some elbows. You saw those. And then JDM would just come back, counter it with, you know, a big grappling move, getting up, landing his own big shots as Bilal was starting to get that momentum. So, again, a lot of high-level stuff, man. High-level stuff, a lot of good moving parts, but a lot about the fight. It's probably the only fight I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about the other parts of the card. There's a lot of good stuff on the card, but I feel like I can make a whole video. I'm already 7 minutes in, and I'm just talking about this fight, so I'm just keep talking about it. Welterweight division, baby. This division is so freaking good, man. It sucks to me that Islam, everyone's going to have to wait for Islam to get. I'm almost kind of mad at that because I feel like there's so many good contenders. But keyword, I didn't say it, but keyword is a lot of good young contenders, so they're all going to get their chance at some point. Shavkat's going to get his chance. Booker's going to get his chance if he beats Usman. Gary's going to get in there. Brady already got his chance. So we're going to see all these fights. But yeah, let's get into, I guess, the next matches that could come. When I was looking at the fight, I was looking at, you know, Sean Brady. How does the fight with Sean Brady and JDM go? I'm looking at that fight. I'm like, you know, even though I think the movement is an issue, it's hard for me to see how Sean Brady wins, because even if Sean Brady can get on top of JDM, cool, you know, that's amazing. But the thing with that is Sean Brady doesn't have the wrestling of Bilal to even like get in those positions to even, you know, get him down. So like when you see Bilal like get on top and he's struggling to keep him down, he can just Derek Lewis himself up. He just does this shit. I gotta see like the exact shit that he's doing. Maybe I gotta rewind, but he just stands up, man. It's crazy. I don't know. But we talk about, you know, Brady has some good ground control. And honestly, top control. Bilal, you know, we've seen people like he struggled to control some people sometimes. People can reverse him. We saw in the Leon fight, you know, Brady a little bit better at that. So, but it's just hard for me to see. Again, I think that just pure wrestling, like just getting people to the ground, the setups, Bilal's the best at. So it's hard for me to even see a guy like Shavkat. I know Shavkat has some good double legs. He showed a little bit of it in the Gary fight, like the one time. But again, he relies a lot on the trips and the type of stuff. I'm telling you right now, I got JDM. I'm high on JDM, man. I've been high on JDM. I said that I feel like again, this is, I guess you'd have to look on my Twitter, but well, my opinion's flip-flop, but I feel like I've said that JDM would beat Shavkat. I'm really low on Shavkat. I never thought Shavkat was any good. I thought Bilal would beat Shavkat. So, and I thought Gary would beat Shavkat. It ended up being a really close fight. I'm pretty high on Gary, pretty high on Buckley. But yeah, I mean, Brady is, it's hard for me to even rate him. I don't know. Because he's good, but I don't know. It's hard for me to give him credit because the pure wrestling isn't there. So, Like, how can he get these fights to the ground? And to me, his striking is worse than Belal. I can't see him having, like, that fight on the feet with JDM isn't even getting that close. I'm talking a lot about Sean Brady. Let me talk about, let's see, Islam. Let's talk about Islam. That's probably the future fight. JDM Islam. Man, that's the thing. The thing is, I don't know how Islam wins that fight. He probably gets outboxed on the feet. You're gonna have to hope that Islam can even. I don't think he's getting knocked out or even maybe pieced up like the way Belal is. He's getting pieced up, but man, I don't know. He like the threat of the takedown might not even be there. I think Islam might just decide, hey, I'm just gonna strike with him. And Islam, these performances have been less and less impressive. You know, the Poirier fight was surprisingly really close. I don't know. He's going to have to come with his A game. He's going to have to really get into that frame. And I could see JDM taking him down low-key if he really wants to. Like, JDM's going to be bigger, stronger, probably faster in there. I don't know. That's a tough fight for Islam. I think Islam probably, or JDM probably opens up like minus 150 favorite low-key. After that performance, stuffing all the takedowns. I will say, though, like, nah, I ain't even, I don't know. I'm trying to give Islam, like, some path to victory here. It just seems tough, man. I don't know. You have to really, because even top control, because Islam's wrestling, I don't know, it's just not on the level of, like, Khabib's. It never really has been. He's more of a guy who, you know, more of a striker. Obviously, he has the wrestling. He has submissions. Okay. There we go. I think that's somewhere that he could actually have more of an advantage, is like being able to get those subs. If he is down late, if he can get to the back of JDM, which we've seen people do. We saw he could be elusive there and he could get a sub. I think that's probably the path, but it's going to be hard for him to get him to the ground. It's going to be hard for him to keep him there. JDM's going to be super strong. I know Islam's a big guy, but first time at the weight class. JDM, you know, 5-round fighter. He's not going to slow down. He's not going to, you know, let Islam off the hook, man. The guy's like a, you know, pure finisher. We don't even know how Islam is, you know, eating like, you know, hundreds of punches. We've seen, like, Belal showed off a really good chin. I don't know if Makshad's eating those same shots. So I got to say, I got JDM probably by decision, maybe third round knockout, maybe, but probably by decision. Similar to what he did here today, man. It's just a tough outing, man. Tough outing for Islam, but again, that's why he's the pound for pound number one fighter. So let's see what he can do, man. We saw what Volk did, what he was able to do, going up a weight class to fight Islam. Can Islam replicate some of that same magic and shock the world? I think it would be a big upset. So, and then I'm trying to see Buckley. We're talking about the other welterweight guys. I don't know. I have like so much thoughts. I don't even know what to really go with here. But yeah, Buckley's another guy that I think could really be good in this division. I think he gives a lot of guys problems there. I think Buckley JDM. Buckley might be the guy to, you know, give JDM those problems, because he can strike. He has that Mike Tyson style. He can match him on the feet. He's got a little bit of grappling. I like Buckley's chances. Usman JDM is a really cool fight to me too. So either of those guys, if they can win, I'd love to see that fight. But yeah, Brady just seems to me the guy. And then Gary, super high on Gary because he has that grappling upside. He has that distance striking. I think that would be interesting to see how JDM would deal with that. I would still favor JDM. I think JDM actually probably knocks him out. Buckley probably knocks him out. But again, Gary's just so smart in there. He has so much IQ. Able to craft a game plan in there, stay safe, do what he needs to do to win. So it keeps him in fights that maybe he shouldn't be in. So you always got to watch out for the boy Ian. I'm trying to see. Michael Morales is coming up pretty quick, but he's kind of outside of the welterweights right now, like of the top guys that's like looking that you could like slot him into a title shot right now. I think any of those guys, like if something happened, you could put them in. They could, you know, fill in and be right there. Michael Morales still got to prove himself. We got to see what happens with him and Gilbert Burns. But yeah, man. I mean, you have an amazing division there. Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira. I'm picking Charles. I don't really. Actually, I don't know. I think like you should like Charles is the right person to pick just based off of like what we've seen from Topuria at the weight class. But I don't know. I still have, especially with the style that he's adopted, this grapple heavy style. He's not striking and doing the wild shit that he was doing early in his career. And I think that Charles could go out there and out grapple Topuria. You know, I know Topuria has that low center of gravity, so might be a little harder to keep him down. But if he can get to that back, he could choke him out. You know, he just remains, you know, out of harm's way. You know, keeps it a little safer fight. So I know people are probably expecting like an explosive fight, something that's, you know, down to the wire, something crazy. Charles probably just controls that and wins the decision. You know, maybe he gets a sub. So it's a tough fight for Topuria. The strike is going to be dangerous. Everything's going to be dangerous. So, but if anyone can do it, it's Ilia Topuria, and that's probably the more funner outcome. But again, we saw today. We got a fun main event, but the fight that everyone wants to see, Islam Topuria, probably won't be happening because I think JDM probably beats Islam, and I think Charles probably beats Ilia. So now you got two guys daring to be great, lost, and you had the fight. You know, you could have forced it. You could have just did it anyways, you know, with it not mattering. But you wait on this outcome. You put the fight in. You put the fight in Bilal's hands. I don't want to even say it like that though. It's not. He's just doing what he has to do. He's just fighting. I don't think they should have. It shouldn't even have been contingent. I think Islam should just fight at 170 on his own accord. If he wants to do it, let him do it. If he doesn't want to do it, don't let him do it. But they should just force this fight on Islam. This whole waiting and like putting it on this fight and making it this and that. I think it was stupid. I think if you have a big fight, do it, man. If both guys want it, make it like that. But I don't know. I can understand why Islam didn't want to fight another featherweight. That's all I got for y'all today, man. I'm tired of talking. I want to hear other people talk, hear their thoughts on it. But yeah, man, leave a like and resubscribe. Peace out. Most already know what it is.